What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Joyride podcast. Honestly, I'm just throwing myself back into this. I don't even have anything written down. I don't have a plan. I don't have certain things that I want to cover. I just know that if I don't start this shit today, I'm never going to start up again. So, I just have so much to fill you all in on. But thanks for sticking with me and thanks for coming back. My last episode that I recorded and posted was back in November of 2023. And for some reason, I just could not get my ass to get back into the energy of wanting to record the podcast. And I know why. I am a perfectionist. I like to think of myself as a recovering perfectionist, but honestly, these perfectionist tendencies are always going to live within me. And I know that when it comes to the podcast and a lot of other things, what I've learned about myself being a man gen and just truly letting myself be creative and go through these ebbs and flows of creativity is if something is not sparking joy in me, and if I start something and for some reason, after a few months or after some time, it's just not lighting me up anymore, I've learned to not force it and to not just push myself into continuously doing it if it's not lighting me up. And with the podcast, I just needed to take a break. I don't even really remember if something significant happened, but I remember thinking back in, I want to say February, March-ish, thinking okay, I think I'm ready to bring this thing back. And then for some reason, I just kept on delaying it. And it just for some reason didn't feel right to bring it back. And I know this about myself with a lot of things in life. So many things lately have been coming online for me. And I've been able to very clearly see these patterns and habits and behaviors that are just so not serving me in any sense. But honestly, the awareness is one thing. And I say this with everything. Having the awareness, having the information is one thing. But to actually integrate new habits, new behaviors, new patterns, new actions is a whole other fucking story. And with this podcast, I think I was just trying to have this sense of quality control, which is what I do with a lot of things. Again, when I start something and then I stop it because for some reason I need to take a break. And then when I come back, I think oh, I need to come back at the perfect moment. Everything needs to be perfect. And then I have to sit there and think to myself bitch, nothing is ever going to be perfect. There's never going to be a perfect moment. That just doesn't even exist when everything in my life is perfect. You know what I'm saying? So I know that's why I have been holding out on this podcast for so long. I truly was just waiting for the quote unquote perfect moment for me to come back, which is honestly just, it's so dumb. And I have to remind myself time and time again that those perfect moments don't exist, and that people want to see you throughout the journey, and they want to see the ups and they want to see the downs and they want to hear about your experience. And that's really the point of this podcast, and that's why it's called the Joyride. I'm not here to just share the highlights and the positives. I'm also here to share the mundane and the negative and the shitty experiences and things, because it's all a part of the joyride. So yeah, that's honestly why it's taken me just so long to get back on the mic. But now being here recording this episode a few minutes in already, it feels so good. And I know that for me, this is just such a beautiful raw space for me to share. I also think too, I like to talk about my emotions, and I like to talk about my feelings. And sometimes I'm ooh, is this a little too much to share? Or what if this one person listens to this episode, which is just so dumb. It's so dumb. And it's I have to be the one to call myself out and say, Rebekah, why are you thinking like this? Who cares if this person listens to an episode which in reality they probably never would, or who cares if you're a little too in depth about this one subject, or who cares if so and so doesn't resonate with it. this is my fucking space and I'm going to do with it what I want to do. So that's kind of just it and why I've been MIA, but I'm excited to be back. I can't tell you like what the schedule is going to look like for this podcast, but ideally I would like to have an episode up maybe once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks. I just want to keep a flow going because I know that so much is changing in my life. And I mean, I'm always saying that, like, there's so much change on the horizon, like, but there just truly is. And I want to document it. And I am just tired of seeing myself go through these cycles. Like, if this is something that I love to do, which I know I love to express myself, and I do that really, really, really well through talking, it's one of the things that I know that I gravitate towards the most. Like, I can sit on a voice note and talk about a situation or talk about something that I'm going through emotionally with one of my friends for like 10, 15 minutes. I'm always like, sorry that this turned into a mini podcast, because that's just how I am and that's how I express myself. So we're here. We're back, baby. It feels really, really good. I already have a handful of incredible guests to bring you, and I'm just excited for this second go round to do it like originally in the way that I really kind of anticipated this podcast going. My initial idea was to bring on really, really close friends of mine, people that I've worked with very, very closely, and just have these like open, raw, real conversations with them. I think it just is so easy for every single one of us, because we're so involved in other people's lives and we're on social media. We've got Instagram, TikTok. I was going to say Twitter, but it's not fucking called Twitter anymore. It's called, I don't even know what it's called. Like so many podcasts out there, and we see these people doing things one way. But I like to do things in such an unconventional, non-linear type of way. Like, I've really just come to realize that I'm the girl. If everyone's going after this trend, I don't want to do it. If everyone's doing it this way, I don't want to do it that way. And I think a part of me wants to be really different and wants to be the individual and wants to be unique. But at the root of it, it's just like, okay, if that doesn't truly feel authentic to me, why would I be doing it? Even if someone's blowing up from a trend, or even if someone is gaining a lot of exposure from it. Like, it just doesn't feel right to me in a sense. So yeah, that's kind of what's to come with the podcast. Now, let me kind of just like update you guys on this year, because I haven't been here in like 7 months. It's been a long ass time. So today is actually summer solstice. So happy summer solstice to everyone. Side note, I got a lip flip last Monday when I was getting Botox. And here's the thing about me, guys. I'm not the person. Some things I will pull receipts about. Some things I like to read reviews. Other things I'm like, if you are telling me about something and I just feel this level of trust with you, I'm just going to believe you. Like, I don't need to know the science. I don't need to know the research. Like, let's just do it. And that's how I feel about a lot of things. It's just this like very strong gift of inner knowing. And with the lip flip, I never even really thought about what it was, but I was in the office getting Botox. And I was talking about just like different things that I wanted to do with my face. I've been getting Botox for a few years, which I love because honestly, it makes me feel so much prettier, and it has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with anyone else and everything to do with me. And I was talking about like how I just hate my side profile. I like have no jawline. I want my lips to be bigger. And then she said, what about a lip flip? And I had no idea what a lip flip was, but apparently they just put some Botox around your lip to relax the top lip muscle so that it doesn't naturally curve in because of the muscle. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. Like, basically asked no questions. And all that I remember her hearing is her saying like, okay, you won't be able to drink out of a straw for the first few days, or it might feel a little weird if you're drinking like coffee out of a teacup or something. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I've heard about this, whatever. No, you guys, like, I was not fucking prepared for what I would feel like. I was so not prepared. honestly, the first week of this lip flip, a few days in, okay, so I got it last Monday, like not, today's Thursday, not the Monday that just happened, but the Monday before. And then I was doing this workshop on a Wednesday, and I swear when I was talking in the workshop, I'm like, I probably look like I'm slurring every single word right now just because my mouth felt so weird. And I want to say within that first week, like a few days after the lip flip, it started to kick in, and I'm like, holy shit, like I cannot drink out of a straw. I can barely drink out of a cup. It's the weirdest feeling because when you go to brush your teeth and you like swish water in your mouth, you can't swish water in the top part of your mouth. And it's one of those things that you wouldn't even think I'm going to miss that. But now that I can't freaking do it because this muscle is so relaxed, I'm like, I miss swishing water in my mouth. And I feel like I talk differently. It just, now that it's almost 2 weeks, it's definitely settled in. But the first week, I wanted to cry because it just felt so weird and so uncomfortable. And I already have like weird like fears and just traumas around my like throat, mouth area, which is just, it's very on par with like my design, man, Jen, heavy like throat energy. I used to get horrible strep throat and bacterial infections in my throat growing up. Like I just have like weird shit going on in the headspace with my mouth and throat area. So I get this thing done, and the first week I want to cry because I'm like, it just feels like I can't even eat. It like hurts to eat. It just feels so weird. I can't even drink out of a straw. And then I'm like, I'm fucked for the next 6 to 8 weeks because I think that's how long this lasts. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with this goddamn lip flip story, but I will say I do really like how it looks. It gives you just like a little oomph in your top lip, which is great because I think it's a cool precursor to getting lip filler done, which I was not at all mentally or financially ready to just like drop almost $1,000 on lip filler. So I'm glad that I did this first. It just is a very weird feeling. But I will say that I'm a very fast talker, especially when I get excited about things. I just talk super fast, and then I start to stutter, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm stuttering and I'm talking so fast, blah, blah, blah. I will say that I think the best thing besides the way that this looks, like I don't love how this feels, to be honest. And I don't know if I would do it again. The first week was just like horrible, to be honest. I just like hated how it felt, hated how I couldn't swish water in my mouth, couldn't drink out of a straw, which I can now. I can drink out of a straw and I can drink coffee, but like it's just weird and I feel like it looks weird. But I will say it's forced me for some reason to slow down when I talk. And I think it's really good for me. And truly, you guys, with every single thing, I kid you not, and I wish I wasn't like you dumb spiritual bitch like this, but I swear to God, every single thing that happens to me in my life, I'm like, there's reflection in this, and there's a revelation in this, and there's something good that's happening with this. That also makes me want to talk about the idea of toxic positivity. I feel like I've just been hearing about it or coming across it a lot lately, and it's been something that I've been very apparent of. Not that I think that I'm a toxic positive person, but I have been bringing this up a lot with clients and just like random people that I meet when I tell them I'm a life coach, I'm an empowerment coach, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. It's like, actually what I'm going through right now in my life is there's so much open space, there's so much open energy, and it feels like in the physical reality, like I don't have a lot going on, which can be very concerning. And in the past, I probably would have reverted to like, what's the plan B? Like, do I have to get a side job? Do I have to go back to something that I don't want to do? Is this going to work out? Blah, blah, blah. But because I have trained myself and I literally have rewired the way that I think, my new resting state is one of optimism, and it's one of positivity, and it's one of expansion. And I feel this obviously so strongly towards myself, but like even stronger when I'm working with someone or when I'm talking with someone, because so many people just revert to the negative, and they revert to the worst case scenario, and they revert to the fear and the anxiety and the stress. And I'm like, what the fuck is that doing for you? Now that I'm so consciously aware of it, when I notice it in other people, there are so many things besides that I've been starting to notice in other people, like how some people need so much validation and you just need to tell them the same thing over and over and over again, and how some people are so impatient when it comes to things. I never used to be that person. You know that saying that's like, what you dislike in other people, you actually have to heal in yourself, or something like that. I don't know what the exact saying is, but I've never really fully believed in that, because I'm like, listen, I know a lot of self-absorbed, narcissistic, just like negative ass fucking people that I don't vibe with, and I'm not like that. Like, I just know that I'm not. But I will say there are a lot of traits that I've been noticing in people, like reverting back to a negative mindset or victim mentality, or being impatient, or being super fearful, or always like, oh, this is not going to work, like expecting the worst. I now am able to spot that out so clearly in people and be like, ew, dude, this is so nasty. I think it's so just like gross. Ugh, like who wants to be that person? So to me, even when shit doesn't feel like it's working out, or even when it feels like there's nothing going on and like I want all these desires and why is nothing happening for me, my resting state is clearly there are things that are being worked on behind the scenes that I can't see. Like, I just refuse to be that person that thinks things don't work out for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you not want to be that way? And I don't think that's being like a toxic positive person. I just don't think so. I think the toxic positive person is one that pretends that everything is great and like I don't have any emotions and I'm just like happy and bubbly and joyful all the time. Like, no, that's not the case. I experience very, very deep emotions, and a lot of the times they're sad and it doesn't feel good, and I'm crying and it feels like, why is this happening to me? And I'm confused, and like I feel every single freaking emotion, the high emotions, low emotions, but I never let myself for too long get into that fear space. Like, I just don't. Of course, I'm a normal human being, and I do have, you know, feelings of doubt and feelings of fear and feelings of scarcity, but I am so much better now at recognizing those feelings and saying, cut that shit out. And a lot of times I tell myself out loud, I'm like, cut that shit out. No. Like, no, we're just not going there. And then I have to actually say out loud all of the things that I'm grateful for. And just like really, really affirm the things that I want and the things that I expect and the things that I'm dreaming about, because it just like cuts all of the bad shit off at once. So I don't even know how I got to talking about this. It's bringing me back to when I first started this podcast, and I'm sitting here like I just went from one thing to the next and I bopped around and talked about 47 million different things, because that's just how my brain works, and I'm just all over the place, but that's just how I am, and that's just how I'm designed. So anyways, being a toxic positive person, like I just don't relate to that, because yeah, I've trained myself to be honestly what I think is like someone that has such a beautiful, expansive, optimistic mindset. And I know that I can sometimes be a little bit of a drill sergeant when I talk about it with my clients, or I express how I feel on social media, because honestly, I feel so strongly about it. Like, life is just truly, it's not linear. It just is not. And I know that for a small percentage of people, their life maybe like operates in a linear way, but to be honest, I feel like for the most of us, it truly goes through this ebb and this flow, and sometimes it may feel like, okay, I'm taking 2 steps forward, but now I'm taking 3 or 4 or 5 steps back. But it's never actually like that. I actually want to share that I had this psychic reading done on, when was it? I think it was on Tuesday. Yeah, because it's Thursday. And She had so many like beautiful messages for me, messages that I've honestly never heard before. I have done so many different types of readings, human design, astrology, tarot, Reiki, energy, like so many different things. And they're usually kind of all centered around like what my mission is and what my purpose is and my gifts and all that. And this one felt really, really good because I'm now at this place in my life where it's like, I know what the fuck I'm here to do. Like, I know my calling, I know my mission, I know my purpose, I know my why, I know what I'm really, really good at, I know what I'm not so good at, I know things that I'm good at, that I want to be great at, that I need to work more at. Like, I already know my shit. I know myself. And she gave me just like really, really cool messages going into my future. But something that she did talk about with me, which I think will land in so many of you, is she was like, do not put any shame on like if you end up taking a different job or switching careers, or if it feels like you're taking a few steps back, because you're not. Like, everything that you are moving towards is truly on your path. She was like, you are on such a clear path right now. She said that I am so divinely protected and supported by my ancestors and by my spirit guides. And I was like so touched because she said that it's very rare for her to get this energy of like, you are so protected. And I was like, I know that I'm really, really protected spiritually. Like, I've always felt that way. But it really, really landed in me, the shame thing, because being someone who can be such a natural perfectionist, like, I can get very hard on myself and thinking, like, well, if I were to switch this, like, what would people think, or blah, blah, blah. Not to say that I'm trying to prove anything to anyone, but, like, from the outside looking in, you know, no one truly knows what it is that you're moving through and what it is you're going through. And it just was so nice for her to say that, like, you are on the divine path, and really it does not matter what you do. Like, it's divine, and it's going to end up, like, you are going to be in alignment, like perfect alignment. Like, what I see for you is like true safety and true security and all these beautiful things. And just hearing that was like, it just gave me like, I don't know, this sense of relief, knowing that whatever I choose to do next is the right decision because it's leading me to the right place. And this kind of is bringing me back to an experience that I had, that I've been having, honestly, like lately a lot. There have just been these little things that have happened to me where things end up working out in my favor. When did I go to Florida? This was back in May. I went to Florida. I took a solo trip. My little brother lives in Sarasota. My parents have a house about 20 minutes away, and I've been wanting to take a solo trip. I'm like, I just need to get away. I went through like a very, 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 very emotional eclipse season, which we can get into a little bit. I was involved. Like, I developed really, really, really strong feelings for someone that is very, very close to me in my life. And it honestly was just like all that I could really focus on for months. Yeah, and I was just like so deep in it, and I just like needed to get away. So anyways, I'm leaving for the airport, and if you live in Austin, like, security is always so fucking long. It's like I get to the airport and I'm like, why is it so long? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But today especially, it was so long, and I'm standing in line, and usually I don't cut it this close. I'm talking like if I check a bag, I'm getting to the airport maybe like, I don't know, an hour, maybe a little over an hour before, which is usually fine. But this time, I drop off my bags, and I'm standing in line security, and this security line, you guys, it's so fucking long. And it is getting closer and closer and closer to boarding time, and then it's like the final boarding time, and I think that they, to my understanding, close the doors, I want to say, like 10 minutes before your flight leaves. So I'm standing in line. I'm like nowhere near the front of the line. And I'm thinking like, I'm just fucked and I'm going to miss this flight. And that really, really sucks, because what am I going to do? Am I going to have to like go back home? Granted, I live really close to the airport. But it was one of those feelings where I was just like, I surrender, and like, it is what it is. And this is so fucking annoying. And like, I need to give myself more time. That's something that I'm realizing in every aspect of my life. I'm notorious. I've felt this my entire life. I always feel like I never have enough time. I always feel like I'm rushing, which I am. I'm always late. It's just like there truly is never enough time. And this was like the last straw where I felt in my body. I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. Like, I just can't be the person that's rushing and running late to everything, because just absolutely not. So anyways, I'm standing in line and I basically convinced myself I'm going to miss this flight. I get through security. I'm like running, and I'm not that bitch who runs to the airport. I'd rather be like, I'd miss it. Like, I'm not that girl. I don't want you to catch me running through the airport. But I just, for some reason, thought we're just going to fast walk. And we're just going to get there. I get to the gate and they tell me that the gate agent tells me that they took me off the flight. She's like, hold up. Like, we took you off the flight, but we're going to try to get you back on. They pull some strings. They work things out. And I get on this flight. I'm talking, the doors were supposed to close, I want to say within 4 minutes. I don't know how and why they let me on this flight, but they did. And I walk onto this flight, and you guys, the first row was open, wide open. It was an aisle seat. It was like God was just laughing at me, saying like, you were always going to make this flight and you were always going to be fine. And I think it's just funny how the universe works and all these little things that for a lot of us, we just like don't even notice. But these little things are just, honestly, they're tiny little miracles. I swear to God, everything is just like a tiny little miracle. So I go to sit down, and I know why no one took that seat. It's because there was one girl sitting in the front row, and I think her dog was like a pit mix or something. But the dog was so sweet and would just like cuddle up next to my foot the whole flight and was just laying on the ground, like didn't make a peep. And I sat down, and as I'm like sweating and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe that I almost didn't make this flight and I thought I was going to miss it and the whole thing. I sit down in my seat and I'm just like, thank you, God. And it was one of those moments where I was able to really sit in what just happened to me. And I was like, listen, you were always going to make this flight. You were never not going to miss this flight. Like, it doesn't matter what happened before this. Like, this was destined and this was planned. And this may seem very extreme for me to have like all these thoughts about this one incident, but this is just how my mind works. My strongest gift in human design is 47. It's the gift of revelation. It's coming from the mind center. Like I mentioned before in this episode, literally every single thing, I kid you not, that happens to me in my life, especially the things that are quote unquote negative or like, oh my God, that was like such a struggle bus or whatever, I'm always finding the silver lining, and there's always a reason why I went through it. Always, 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 for everything. So I'm sitting down thinking about this, and I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Like, why do I rush? I was always going to make this flight. I was always going to be fine. Like, why do we just want to rush everything? Why do we always like want to rush the process and rush the journey? Like, what ends up happening is in perfect alignment. It is divine, and it is supposed to be that way. Truly. And I know for whatever you may be moving through or going through right now, it may not make sense, and you may be wondering like, why is this not working out for me? Or why is this not happening the way that I want it to be? Trust me when I say I've been going through so much of that lately with just like, why are things not working out? And why aren't people buying this? And blah, 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 blah. Like, there are always a million reasons, but I need to have these experiences that remind me that like, everything's gonna work out the way that it should. And it sounds so dumb, and it sounds just like so cheesy and so just like, Rebekah, you're such a life coach, which is what I am. Like, I truly just can't help it, and I'm just so grateful. Another experience with the airport, I forgot to check into my flight. I think this was my last flight. Yeah, when I was just in Newport this past weekend, and one of my girlfriends was like, did you check in? And I was like, fuck, I totally forgot to check in. Checked in. It was like C39, or basically the last person. You guys, same fucking thing happened again. The front row was wide open. And I was like, oh my God. Like, what? I was here just so concerned that I was going to be so uncomfortable in a middle seat in the way back of the plane. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'll deal with it for a few hours, but is it ideal? Absolutely not. But just another one of those, like, hee, we got you moments. And I was like, okay, love you so much, God. Thank you for that. But it just is so true. And it has helped me immensely throughout this last phase. Because honestly, you guys, this has been a very intense, chaotic year, to be honest. we started off with January, and I feel like most people are like, let's fucking go. It's a new year, like new year, new me, the whole thing, which I totally am down for that energy. I freaking love a new year. I just love the new energy that comes in. But honestly, astrologically, the new year doesn't really start until the spring because we're still in the winter phase and still like honestly tying up loose ends from the past year. And then we went into this crazy eclipse season. For me, it was hitting both my north node and south node. My south node is in Aries. My north node is in Libra, but the eclipse was actually the opposite. I think it's called like an opposite nodal opposition. I don't freaking know the lingo, but basically we had a north node in Aries and a south node in Libra. So it was hitting these two major parts in my chart. I was going through this like thing with like someone that I developed like really deep feelings for, and it was just a lot, and I was so deep in it, and I wasn't able to focus on a lot of like creative pursuits, I want to say, but I got really deep into my fitness journey. So let's kind of just like fast forward into what I've been working on throughout the year. We're just gonna like make this episode all about me and like what's going on, and then in the future, I'm going to release some other episodes about specific topics that I want to talk about if they are solo episodes, besides just like check-ins and what's happening. But basically, a huge, like, I don't even know what you would call it, kind of like a coming home for me this year has been re-falling in love with my physical body and re-falling in love with fitness. I started this workout plan, and it has literally changed everything for me. Like, I have so deeply fallen in love with my physical body. I have so deeply fallen in love with like what my physical body represents, and it has really just like kind of taken me back in time to when I first really got into fitness, and I started taking fitness and my health very seriously and just fell in love with my body. Like, I fell in love with the way that my body looks way before I fell in love with who Rebekah was as a person. Like, my character, what I stand for, how I treat people, my purpose, my passions, my gifts. Like, I fell in love with my physical, which, like, I've explored so much of that through just reestablishing this very strong connection to my body, but also, like, diving deeper into my human design and my astrological chart. And I'm like, this is such a huge part of my purpose, because my connection with my physical body and how I feel allows me to create more abundance, allows me to truly, honestly step forward in the best possible light in every other aspect of my every other aspect of my life. Like, people lately have been saying, like, you're just radiating and you're just so vibrant. And I know it's because I look fucking good right now. Like, let me toot my own horn and say that I have been putting in so much work in the gym, which I love. Like, I'm a gym girl at heart. And I remember back in the day thinking, oh my God, as a job, people just get to look good. Like, how cool is that? But it's true. There are so many people who literally get paid to look good and be these Instagram models and be on Instagram and flex and, you know, work with these really cool companies. But it takes so much work and so much time and so much devotion and dedication to that. And I've been getting so many incredible, just like affirmations from people and people telling me how good I look. And I'm like, yeah, I should look really good because I'm spending so much of my time up in the gym, and I'm treating this as a job because it's really important to me. But I'm so grateful that I decided to work with my friend Zach on this program. He's just incredible and has done, like, he has just activated and amplified so many things for me. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful that I met him, connected with him, decided to work with him, because truly I feel like I'm a completely different person because I take such pride in the way that I look, because at the root of it is I feel so good and I feel so connected to my physical body. So honestly, so much of this year has been me pouring into fitness, which I love, which is just like bringing up so much joy and bringing up so many incredible ideas for creative projects around fitness and around like empowerment when it comes to women and like regaining our sense of confidence, because like the saying, look good, feel good, it sounds so cheesy and it sounds so like, yeah, whatever, but it's so true. And for me, I'm like, I just want to empower other people and show them that like, yeah, you can look really fucking hot. Like you can. That is totally okay. And you know what? You're going to trigger some bitches and you're going to make some people feel jealous, but like that's not on you. Step even, bolder into your power and like take up more space. And like one of my favorite things lately has been to follow these really, really hot girls on Instagram, because it just reminds me, Rebekah, you can be hotter. Like, isn't that kind of funny? Like, Rebekah, you can be hotter. You can be better. You know what I'm saying? And it actually is helping expand me and not constrict me and restrict me. And it is just allowing me to expand the way that I view myself. And like, I got my hair done today. I went back to brunette and I've been getting Botox, and I'm considering like jaw filler and lip filler and all these things that I never really even thought about before or even wanted. But I'm now at this point in my life where I'm working through deconditioning a lot of like what my parents would say, what my brothers would say, like what my friends are doing, whatever. And I'm just like, I really care about looking good. I do. And I want to feel really, really sexy, and I want to feel really, really good in my body. And it's not so that I can impress these random dudes at the gym or like impress a girl. Like that's not what it's about. But for me, it's like, I just want to look at myself and be like, damn, bitch, you look fucking good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do so many practices, like mirror work and just dancing around my house. And like, the best feeling in the world is looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, that is you. And I love who that is. There truly is no better feeling in the world. So I digress on that. But so much of my time and attention and energy has gone into the gym, which I love. Besides that, what else has been happening? We obviously took a break from the podcast. I'm still like exploring. I brought back my YouTube channel for a hot minute because I thought like, I'm coming back. I'm still honestly thinking about it. I don't know. I just don't know what's happening with that. But the main thing is like expanding my coaching business. I've now had my business for 1.5 years, which is wild. And I'm at this point now where I'm like, it just is cool to know so firmly like what you're good at, what your gifts are, and just like what your talents are. Because for the first year, I wasn't doing enough where I convinced myself like, yeah, you're really fucking good at this. Like I would have moments where I would think to myself, I love this, I'm really good at this, but like, is this really gonna work out? You know what I'm saying? Because we all just go through that. Is this really gonna be it? But now I'm at the point where I've been vocalizing this to a lot of my friends. I'm like, there's so much open space in my life, and I just want more opportunities to get better at this. And I just want more opportunities to not only just like shine and show the world who I am, but to also just go from being good to being great. Because I know that I'm really fucking good at what I do, but it takes more opportunity for you to become really, really great and to truly be an expert at something. And this podcast and sharing my voice and expressing myself and being raw, which is something that my psychic brought up on Tuesday. She was like, I see you in the next few years like it's you, but it's not. But everything is rooted in you just being so raw. And I'm like, that really, really landed and that really hit, because at the root of every single thing that I do, and I'm still working towards, of course, showcasing more of this when I do come online, because I'm not someone, I think, that is like chronically posting online, which I like. I like to be like offline, online, you know what I'm saying? But when I do post, I do see myself as being someone that is real and is raw and is authentic, and I'm not afraid to show up online without makeup on, or like I'm just not the perfectly curated person. I don't fucking vibe with that at all. That's not how I do content. That's not how I make content. The way that I operate in terms of sharing and showcasing and speaking and expressing my truth is, it just like comes to me. and then I just go. Like, there is no rhyme or reason. There's no, like, okay, this is what I'm going to plan to do and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's just not the way that I work. But at the root of everything that I do is I want people, anyone who's in my space, anyone who's in my energy, whether it's like you just come to my Instagram for the first time and you look at my stories, or you look at my feed, or you come listen to my podcast, or you come meet with me in a session, like, I really, really value authenticity, and I really, really, really value people who are just wholeheartedly themselves. Like, for as long as I can remember, I have just fucking hated when people copy me, and I see other people copy other people. I'm just like, be you. Like, I just don't get how people do that. And of course, we all take inspiration from people, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, be you. Like, you're never gonna be me. You can try to be me, because trust me, people are still copying my shit, and I see it all the time, and it still irks me and bothers me, but I just don't get it, because, like, why would you not want to be authentic to you? And I've been really, really thinking about success lately and what it means to me, because I've been really getting back into my groove of, like, really deep diving into my spiritual practice and my personal development practice. I feel like for so much of this year, I've been pouring so much into, like, the physical and working out and, like, spending a lot of time in the gym, which I love, because I've gone through so many phases in my life where I've convinced myself that, like, I need to do more healing work. I need to manifest harder. I need to write more. I need to journal more. I need to go to more sound baths. I need to, like, do all these things. But it's like, you have to come back to yourself and be really fucking honest with yourself. But this also takes a lot of trial and error to say, like, what actually fills you up and what you actually feel connected to. And I know for me, like, a non-negotiable every single day is moving my body. Like, it's not meditating, it's not journaling, it's not doing any of these other things. The one and only thing that I need to do every single day is work out. That's literally it. It is a close second, like, you know, visualizing and, like, just being and sitting still and, like, dancing and all these other things. Oh, yeah, for sure. But, like, when I think at the end of every day, if I didn't work out, I'm like, ugh. Like, I'm just, like, mad at myself, because I know that for me, it truly is just a non-negotiable. But I really have been neglecting that, and I think for good reason. I think that we just all go through these phases where we need to sometimes lean a little bit more into personal development, and I'm actually really, really proud of myself, because I took a very big step back from a lot of that this year. I stopped listening to podcasts. I stopped, like, reading a lot of, like, personal development books, because I'm a Gemini moon, and I can very easily be like, more information, more of this. Like, I'm curious. I want to learn more. I want to blah, blah, blah. Like, someone that is always, always, always pushing towards growth and being better and being the next best version of myself, which I love. But again, we really have to get back to, like, what brings you joy and what brings you fulfillment. And for me, it was pouring into, like, listening to music every single day that truly, like, makes me dance. Dancing in my mirror, dancing around my apartment, sleeping in more and not being so rigid in my schedule, getting in, like, really long workouts every day, because I like to take my time and I like to do a really good job. I'm not the girl that's like in and out in 30 minutes. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm the girl that will be up in the gym for 2 hours. It's so good for me. It's so therapeutic. Yes, it takes a really long fucking time because of these workouts that I'm doing, but, like, I look fucking incredible and I feel incredible. So clearly something's working. But anyways, I was just not focusing on that for the longest time. And now I'm truly feeling the call again to seek out more guidance, and, like, doing the psychic reading the other day. I'm like, ugh, it just felt so good to be in a session where I'm not the one facilitating it. As much as I love coaching, you guys. Human design readings, like, they're fun, and I love sharing about human design, but, like, I fucking love being a coach. I love it so much, and I know that I'm so good at it. But to be on the receiving end and just to, like, have someone talk about you for half an hour is just, like, give me more. Like, truly, I think it's such a gift to learn about who you are, especially from another person. I've always said this, but if I could spend all day, every day having just, like, meeting with people, having them tell me about me, like, sign me up. Honestly, nothing sounds better. And maybe that's really selfish and really egotistical of me, but, like, I see it as such a gift, because not only am I learning more information about me, But I'm taking this information, I'm processing it, I'm analyzing it, I'm integrating it, and then I'm sharing it with everyone else. So like it is a gift for everyone else, the wisdom and the introspection that comes from it. But it just was so nice to be on the receiving end. And after that call, I was like, damn, I miss this so much, because that's how I got started into my personal development journey. You know, like deep diving into astrology and learning all about myself and getting my human design read and just like trialing out all of these different things. And then I just had to take a step back, and I was like, I'm kind of done for the time being and taking all this information from outside sources, and I'm really just going to pour into myself. And I'm so happy that I did it, because again, I've been able to really come home to who I was like 5-6 years ago, before, you know, the thought of being a coach and like running my own business and doing what I'm doing now even came into my mind. I was just like obsessed with the gym and how it made me feel, and how that energy was able to spill out into every aspect of my life. And I really like needed to get back to that. And I'm finding that because, not this last eclipse, but there was something with like, look back to what happened in like 2018 or 2019. And I feel like so much of what's happening in my life right now is going back like 5 or 6 years, like being brunette again and like pouring back into fitness and really going back to the foundations of what built me and what built like who Rebekah is as a person. So I'm getting back into it. I'm like finally ready to, okay, we've been doing a lot of like sleeping in and not a very rigid routine, which I do really like a routine, but I'm like, okay, the next wave is coming. At the end of 2023, I really hit this breaking point where I was so just unhappy with how much I was making financially and just like how I was viewing myself and my business. And I'm a very black and white type of person when it comes to up-leveling my life. Not that I'm like cruel and mean to myself, but I think that I have to be very black and white with myself. And I say that this kind of falls back on being a Gemini moon, which is very black or white, yes or no, like pick a fucking side and pick a choice. It's not like, let's meet in the middle, very Libra, which is funny because I have a lot of Libra placements, but the way that I process things emotionally is like, pick a side, bitch. And I had to really give myself the stern talk and be like, you're going to change the way that you think. You are going to change the way that you think, because if you don't, things are not going to change. And honestly, so much for me drastically changed in the first few months of the year. But I'm now at kind of like one of those breaking points again where I'm like, okay, I feel myself kind of falling back into similar patterns, and I'm ready to give myself that big talk again and say like, no more scrolling, no more wasting time, no more like psychoanalyzing and getting in your head about like, are people going to like this if I do it? You know, are people going to resonate with it? Blah, blah, blah. What I'm really, really focused right now on in my life is if I feel called to do something creatively, and I've been getting, like, I'm so good at being in the present moment. I never used to be like this 5 years ago. I was always future tripping and always thinking about the future and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, I only know what's going to happen right now. Whatever I'm being pulled towards, that's exactly what I want to focus on right now. And really what I'm manifesting and what I'm putting out there for you all to be witness to is what I'm working on is not psychoanalyzing into, are people going to like this? Are people going to buy this? Blah, blah, blah. Because at the end of the day, like whatever's going to happen is whatever's going to happen. But trusting in the sense that like all of my interests and things that I'm going after, like people will resonate with, and like it is going to do well simply because I want to fucking do it. And simply because there's joy there and there's a spark there and there's a pull there, because there are so many really, really cool creative projects that have come online for me the past few months that I'm like, that I just was kind of neglecting for one reason or another. And I'm at this point now with Gemini season now being over, stepping into Cancer season, which I'm so excited for, like being in the heat of summer, literally, like we're in fucking end of June and it's summertime now. I'm like, okay, it is go time now to bring all of these ideas to life, because what's the point if they all just stay ideas? Like, I want to see them to fruition. I don't want to fucking worry about anything in the future and what's going to happen and blah, 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 because everything is destined and it's inevitable. And all that we can do is move from a space of aligned action. That's something that's been very, very top of mind for me lately, is like, am I taking aligned action steps? Because I feel like lately I've been sitting and ruminating and just like not initiating enough and not putting my ideas into action, which is fine. Again, like I'm not perfect and I always want to be truthful and I always want to be raw and like I scroll, I stay up too late. I do normal fucking human being things even if it doesn't come off like that, because I know for a lot of people, not just me, but for other people, it may seem like, oh, you have all your shit together and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm so, like, I do have my shit together and I do take really, really good care of myself and I care about my health and all these things. But at the same time, like, I do all these, like, not great practices, which I'm still working on overcoming, which everyone does. Like, let's get over it. We all do this shit. But at the end of the day, I always want to be this pillar of empowerment and inspiration, and I want to be the person that shows other people that, like, yes, you can fucking do this. I was telling this to the girl who's blow drying my hair today. I was like, I just want to be the person that shows and tells other people, yes, it's okay to follow your dreams. Like, yes, it's okay for you to go into debt for a little bit to follow what you're doing. Yes, it's okay for no one in your life to understand you because you feel so convicted to go after what you're going for. Like, it is okay to be misunderstood. It is okay to bring your visions to life. It is okay. Because when I think about it, I think about people who are stuck in this 9 to 5, or I just like think about these people who've been in the corporate world for 40 years who just like have no idea what they're here to actually do on earth. And that is the biggest driving force of all. And like, I can't even tell you guys how many times I've stayed up at night. Just like, it scares me, truly scares me. And I know that everyone has a different purpose and a different mission in life, and we all can have multiple purposes. I'm like really coming around to the idea that we can have multiple purposes. Like, yeah, again, things are just like majorly shifting for what I desire and what I want in my life. But like at the root of it, I've always felt this call and this duty to be this person that expands the visions of other people, because so many people are stuck in these like lack mindsets, or they're stuck in this idea of what their life should be because they grew up with parents that thought a certain way, or they hang around people who are only doing this one thing. And I'm like, that is absolutely so terrifying to me. I just don't want to be that person. So yes, I'm always going to go through these seasons, and I'm always going to go through these times in life where things may feel slower and like, why aren't things happening for me, and why aren't things making sense? But like, it's all making sense because at the end of the day, it's all taking you to where you need to go. And really, my mantra for the season and my focus is like, focus on the people and focus on the things that are lighting you up right now and bring it into fruition, bitch. I'm always like talking to myself like that, like, okay, bitch. Like, that's just, it works for me. So I'm going to continue to roll with it. But I have to talk to myself like that. Like, be fucking for real. You can't just like sit here and dream and wonder about all these things and expect the change to happen. Life just doesn't work like that. And some people may look at me as the girl who's like, she's always going after things and blah, 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 which yes, to an extent, but I also feel like lately I've kind of just been caught up in this cycle of just like, I'm dreaming and things aren't really happening, but it's like, am I putting in the aligned action? Because if I'm not going to do it, how the fuck else is the universe going to conspire to bring the people that are missing into my life? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you have to take a step in order for the universe to match you. And for so many of us, we're not taking that step, but we're sitting here wondering, why aren't things happening for me? Oh, like, why aren't I getting the job? Why aren't I getting the man? And it's like, you're not doing anything. That's why. Like, we have to be so fucking for real with ourselves. And this is the time, after going through like this crazy, intense, chaotic eclipse season, after going through like this very supercharged spring Gemini season, like we're in the heart of summer right now, and there's so much opportunity and there's so much space around us. I know so many people who have broken up, gotten in new relationships, so many people that have quit their jobs, left their jobs, starting a new job. I'm like, yes, that's the part of, you know, the new cycle and seasons of life, but really this is the time for so much new change. And it's so exciting. Like, as scary as it is for there to be so many options and so much change and so much unknown. When you learn to fall in love with the unknown, it's like, holy shit, this is so fucking magical. Like, what's gonna happen tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's gonna happen tomorrow if I really pour into myself and what I'm working on, and like, holy shit, this lights me up. Like, I want to see this come to life. You know what I'm saying? When you start to develop that mindset, you start to naturally just become so expansive and so optimistic, and it really, like, that shit gets me going. Like, it makes me so fucking horny. I'm just like, oh my God, like, how much bigger can I think? And then I talk to clients and I talk to people, and like, all these serendipitous things happen, and I'm just like, you're on a walk and you're like, how amazing, how magical is life? Like, at least that's what happens to me, because really at the end of the day, like, it's never, ever, ever about the end result. I can't even tell you how many times I've accomplished something or something has happened and it happens and I'm like, that's it? Like, it just is so underwhelming because I'm having so much fun in the process, and that's where the real joy comes out, and the real just like, this feels so good that I'm doing this comes out. And that feeling, it doesn't come at the end. And it may feel good to say like, yes, I did it and I crossed it off my list and like, that was such a cool experience. But really, I find that it's the joy ride, guys. It's the ride, and it's the company, and it's, you know, all of the like ups and downs and all of the emotions that you feel throughout the process. That's where the magic truly lies. So I think we're going to end this first episode here. Here I am just yapping away for almost an hour. Am I surprised? Absolutely fucking not. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around with me through literally, if you've been here for the past, I don't know, ever since I started the podcast, thank you. If you've been someone in my life for years, thank you. Like, it has been such a journey, and like I mentioned before, it feels good to know what I'm here to do, at least for this season of my life. And I know that it will change and it will pivot, and I will shape shift, and I will become all these different things, you know, a wife, a mother, a like boss ass bitch, I don't know, like whatever ends up happening. But in this season of my life, I'm just so focused on what I feel called to right now, and just showing up in my fullest expression. To me, that's just like easily the most important thing. How can I always just express myself in a way that feels truly so divine and so authentic to me, and just like shut out what I'm seeing from everyone else? Because at the end of the day, what's authentic for you is not going to be authentic to the next person, and that's how it fucking should be, right? Like, we are all so unique and so individual, and that's why I'm so blessed to do the work that I do, because it just emphasizes that so deeply. And I'm just feeling very grateful for the season that we're in, for the space that we're in, for where I'm at, and I'm excited to bring you guys along the journey with me and to have you be here. And expect more podcast episodes coming from me soon. But happy summer solstice. Happy Jupiter Day. Happy Thursday. You will definitely not be listening to this episode on a Thursday, but whenever it does come out, I hope that you have a wonderful day. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.